Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me here. Today we'll talk about enterprise user interfaces and data. Above that, we will talk about how data can be mined with the advent of AI. And I'm going to introduce this new topic called generative UI. So enterprise in today's world generate tons and tons of data. And it is impossible to make any sense of this data. What is happening is, first it is impossible to access. Once you access, it is impossible, even though if you have access to the data, it is impossible to make any sense of it. What enterprises are doing is, are accessing these data through specialized talent who are better in analytics. And this talent is putting the data in right UI. Only when you have right UI, you are able to make any sense of the data. But what is happening here is, this process is too slow. And as a result, you would need better methods to see your data. And often you must be hearing that any small UI change on your legacy system, it would cost you a lot, in millions, right? So to address this problem, let's dig a little deeper into how let's dig deeper into evolution of interfaces, right? In 90s, with computer application, we got static UI. And with mobile revolution and handheld devices, we got responsive UI. The responsive UI that fits all kinds of screens. And with SaaS revolution, we got adaptive UI, the UI that where personalization would happen based on rules, right? But this era, it is more to do with generative UI, the UI that gives you exact feeling of the data that is there behind. So how it works? The way generative UI works is, it sits a layer above your data, a layer above your enterprise systems. It will generate user interfaces as you chat. It not only generates user interfaces, it generates interactive buttons, interactive method by which you can manage your data. Now let's look at, in a project planning setup, a place where you are working on 10 workflows, right, and see how this works. So let's say you want to access your planning dashboard. On a single instant, you are able to see what are all the tasks at hand. Then when you ask what is the project health, it will tell you 5 projects, so many projects are at risk. And when you ask what blockers do you have in your implementation, it will tell you manpower is the problem. When you ask who is at highly loaded, it will tell you your X team is loaded, but and then you can say that in this team, can I add a new person? Right? That's what you are trying to do in the chat. So all of this, the generative UI is able to do instantaneously on the chat, right? Whereas now, if you in the systems that you have now, for you to onboard an employee to a project, it's a big process. You have to go into ERP, you have to go into workflow, you have to use at least 5 to 6 softwares to have somebody onboarded into a project, and at least the information has to exchange 7 to 8 people to get there. So once you have employee onboarded, you can have tasks assigned to it, create a mobile application with data integrated to that person. Right? You don't have to go into another Monday.com to have something done. And you can have the task start date, start end date, all of that in a single interface. Now let's look into how generative AI works in warehouse management system and stock analysis case. So let's ask overview of your warehouse. It will give you what is the value of the inventory, where the inventory is, how many zones you have, locations you have. But let's say we'll have low stock. Let's ask how many SKUs are at low stock. It will give you all the SKUs that are at low stock. Now let's ask about one particular SKU and ask it to show the exact product. So now what is happening is here the AI is giving you what is the price, what is the inventory, and you can check the inventory right away at the single instance. And then you can take action of inventory. So this is the case of wireless Bluetooth that we spoke in the morning. And then in a warehouse, what is the productivity of employee, right? Who is at the highest load? All of that can now happen on a chat. Wow, isn't that wonderful? Like you have the AI taking care of most of your work at a single place, right? So what happens is, it comes at a risk. The risk of what is happening is when your workforce uses chat, and many a times as you keep using chat, what would happen is you might lose the relevance of data, relevance of system expertise. And when these LLMs are running at highest speed or highest, there could be an infrastructure overload. Sometimes there could be predictability. For same prompt, you could have different UI generated. And many a times what we feel is when you're a warehouse manager, you think that AI is equally capable, but it is naive. So these are the problems that tend to happen all the time. But most of the problems can be solved working with some of the Gen UI setups. What it is right now, in our case, what we do is we kind of train LLMs to generate same UI for the same prompt that is being put, right? And then we make sure that the user data is cached so that the LLMs don't do the repetitive tasks. And over the time, what we do is we understand the knowledge of entire warehouse. If a warehouse has so many people, so many rows, so many SKUs, then it itself is generating a tribal knowledge of that operations over there. So this is what we do at Superatom AI. We bring intelligence live. We create interfaces on your data where you can interact. You not only can interact with the data, but now you can take actions on the data. So let's take a use case of where a same prompt is given by few people in a marketing setup. So let's say if a CFO asks, how is your marketing campaign performing in Q4 2025? You would have this dashboard because the CFO would want to see what is return on analysis, quarterly revenue trend, because he would want to look the business in different view. But if the same prompt is given by marketing manager, then it is more to do with what is the campaign reach, what is engagement rate, what is team task progress, whether the tasks are in line or not. But if it is given by, if the same prompt is given by analyst, then it is to do more with what is the funnel, what is the conversion rate. It is digging deep down into how analysts have to work. I think that's it. That's it. If you have any questions, we'll take up. Otherwise.